following program is a production of Hō'ike Kauai Community Media.
Honolulu may be a 30-minute flight from Kauai, but significant developments in the state capital can have a profound impact on life on our island, for better or worse. The Hō'ike team recently attended the opening day of the legislature, marking the first session where lawmakers convened to debate various measures. The session will run from now in January until May. During this time, proposed bills can range from new governance ideas to the allocation of additional funding for important government initiatives, such as developing housing or funding education budgets. The implications of these laws will inevitably ripple through our schools, housing, parks, and families. Stay tuned as we bring you the Kauai updates from the Capitol.
Aloha, Kauai. We are on Oahu today. I'm Trisha Allen.
And I am Olivia Franco.
And it is opening day in the state capitol. We're going to be interviewing a lot of the Congress people and senators that are in government and watching opening ceremonies coming up soon. It's a big day. You ready?
I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We kicked our visit to the Capitol off by going to Representative Luke Evslin's office.
Aloha. I'm Trisha Allen, standing here with Representative Luke Evslin from Kauai. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm nervous as all get out, so thank you for breaking the ice for me. I appreciate it. I have a question for you. What is the best piece of advice that you ever ignored?
Best piece of advice I ever ignored. Unfortunately, I'm really stubborn, so I ignore most advice until I sort of learn the hard way that I should have listened to the advice. So let me think it through. Don't rely on a bicycle on Oahu, as we're standing next to my bike here, and it's my only form of transportation, and it's kind of it's a hard way to get around Oahu. I'll say that.
Gets a little wet sometimes, I imagine.
Yes, yeah, and treacherous on these roads here.
Oh, I bet. Okay, so back to policy. What are you working on currently?
As Housing Committee Chair for this session, most of my work is on housing policy. So I've got about 20-ish bills probably relating to housing, and there's a lot of different directions there. As you know, I personally feel like the housing crisis is the biggest problem that we face in Hawaii right now, and there is no single one-shot solution to it. So in general, the solutions range from regulatory reform to make it easier for individual home builders to add onto their houses through ADUs and stuff, and also to allow for some higher density construction within our town cores, more funding for affordable housing, and especially more funding for workforce housing, which is defined a little bit differently. Right now, most of state and federal funding goes towards really low income, those making under 60% AMI, and we're focusing to try and really drastically increase the amount of funding going for people making between 60% and 140% AMI. So these are people that, most like firemen and teachers and nurses, et cetera, who aren't going to qualify for traditionally subsidized housing, yet they don't make enough to purchase a home in our crazy housing market right now. So really trying to bolster that through a real drastic increase in funding for those projects. Also increasing funding for infrastructure, especially in our town core areas, to enable housing development to occur. And then trying to do what we can to reduce speculation in the housing market. And that comes both from higher taxes on non-owner occupied homes that are flipping in the market, and then using that funding to pay for infrastructure. And then we're also working on some sort of novel approaches, at least for Hawaii, novel approaches for possibly deed-restricted housing. And setting aside a pot of money for counties to access, where they can purchase deed restrictions on homes, which would ensure that home has to be occupied by somebody working in the county forever, essentially. So it's total voluntary program, but if somebody wants some cash possibly from the county, they would negotiate a price for this deed restriction, sell it to the county. They could walk away with some cash out of that deal, and then there's a permanent deed restriction on the house. So this is something that's worked pretty well in Vail, Colorado, and we're at least exploring the concept through legislation this session.
At first glance, the opening session of the legislature appears to be a solemn affair. However, after our interview, we were welcomed by a vibrant crowd of fellow media representatives, enthusiastic youth, dedicated union members, and passionate nonprofit advocates, all eager to influence the decisions being made. The atmosphere was lively, even punctuated by someone singing. as we collectively embraced a moment of transformation and recognized the goodness in one another. The vibrant energy in the air intensified as even a band took stage, filling the atmosphere with music and excitement. Nadine Nakamura, a representative from Kauai, made history as she was recognized as the Speaker of the House, marking the first time a woman has held this prestigious position in Hawaii's history.
Members of the House of Representatives, I present the Honorable Nadine K. Nakamura, the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 33rd Legislature.
In the Senate chambers, it was remarkable to see both leaders of our state Senate and House of Representatives from Kauai. After the opening session, legislators returned to their offices to meet with constituents and gather input for the upcoming session. We also went upstairs to interview them about their plans.
Aloha, Trisha Allen here, and I am with Trish LaChica, Assistant Majority Floor Leader, right?
Yeah.
Of our House of Representatives, and you are Vice Chair for the Education Committee, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I did hear some talk about preschool. Would you mind telling us a little bit about plans for that?
Yeah, as a mom of 2 young kids, we know that early education really helps our kids have a bright future, have a strong future. So we really want to see every 3 and 4-year-old have access to preschool. We want to make sure that our rural areas have enough seats. So we're not just looking at the seats, but we're also growing our workforce, also raising salaries for our childcare, educators, and workers. But the Education Committee, we're working as well as improving our public schools, making sure our keiki have the quality education that they deserve.
Wow, that's really important work.
Trisha and I then found Nadine Nakamura, the Speaker of the House.
From Majority Leader to Speaker of the House, Nadine Nakamura, thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here to talk to you today.
So that's quite a different position than it has been lately. What are you most looking forward to in this session?
I'm looking forward to working with the 51 members of the House of Representatives to do some really good work for the people of Hawaii, and that is to address the cost of living issues, especially the high cost of housing. We're going to have a huge initiative to build more workforce housing for our families between 60 and 140% of area median income, to build more affordable rental housing. So people have options out there, and people have housing that they can live in.
That's to help that missing middle.
That you are correct. It's the missing middle. That's the term. And we have a majority package bill to address that. And we're hoping to get that through the legislative session.
That's fantastic. We were able to speak with Luke Evslin a little bit about that earlier today. So now that the hard questions out of the way, we've been asking people fun questions all day today. And if you don't mind, we have one for you as well. How about this one? Fill in the blank for me. The older I get, the more I
exercise.
Ooh, that's one I wasn't expecting. What does exercise do?
I like to swim and hike, and I do a lot of walking. And so I think because of the stress of the job and getting older, I have to be more intentional about it.
That makes sense. Where's your favorite place to hike on Kauai?
Oh my gosh. We always love to go up to Hō'ike, and then just nearby would be Sleeping Giant from the Wailua Homestead side.
That's a favorite of ours as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time. It's an honor to meet you.
Great to meet you too.
We also visited a state senator from Maui to talk about the importance of public access.
Your thoughts on the franchise fee situation that's happening? Kauai is decided and it's over with, but Maui's next.
Yep, Maui's next, exactly.
Okay.
And I've testified at that hearing. I think the points I made in that are very concise. I don't see why they can't simply extend the agreement that was in place. And they don't understand that we don't have a multitude of television stations. We have one way of news. and that is Akaku. And I point to social media and the sensationalization of wild conspiracy theories as to why in Akaku's news coverage, people turned and gave the straight news and information people needed to know. If responsible journalism in a disaster isn't a reason enough for a fair franchise agreement, I don't know what is.
Agreed, 100%. Thank you very much.
While out on the balcony, we even ran into Mayor Derek Kawakami and Governor Josh Green. Check it out.
Look who we found at the state capitol. It's Mayor Derek Kawakami. How are you, Mayor?
I'm doing great. I am very optimistic. There's a positive energy running through the hallways at the state capitol, and I'm very optimistic that people are going to come together collectively to solve some of the biggest problems that the state of Hawaii has to face.
It's a good day for it. But before we get to the heavy stuff, I do have a little bit of a lighter question for you. If you could fill in the blank for me, the older I get, the more I
want to go surfing. Yeah, the older I get, the more I want to spend time in the ocean and catch as much waves as I can.
Love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we hope you have a great day.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
One superpower, I think the ability to fly. Yes, I love to be able to see different perspectives. And this world's a beautiful place. I'm often stuck in the building doing work. So maybe the power to fly would be great. Sometimes maybe invisibility, just because, there are moments.
Maybe you could get a 2-for-1 deal. We'll look into it.
If I could have flight and invisibility,
That's great.
Yes.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day. I just wanted to really quickly ask you that, and I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Let's get one more hug.
At the end of the day, we visited Senator Kochi and Representative Morikawa to get their future plans.
You've been Senate President since 2015, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so from then to now, what is one lesson learned that stands out to you?
I think through COVID and the ability to make the investment to deliver meetings remotely, allow Neighbor Island residents to be able to participate without having to incur the cost of flying to Oahu, renting the car, the hotel room, was always a goal for us on the Neighbor Islands. And I'm just glad that in the adversity of COVID, we saw the opportunity of making that remote testifying work.
I am here with Representative D. Morikawa from Kauai, Majority Floor Leader this year as well, and committee member for Finance, Legislative Management, and Water and Land. So out of those 3 committees and the work that you're going to have as Majority Floor Leader, can you think of any one specific thing that would most affect the people on Kauai?
Both Waterland and Finance are very important because Waterland deals with a lot of land, ocean, recreation, and state parks and such. And I think that's very important because we have to be sure we protect our environment, we watch the capacity of usage. And finance is important because we deal with taxes, income, revenue, and expenses. And it's a privilege to be on the committee.
Okay. Is there anything that you are working on this session that you are particularly proud of?
Well, what I'm happy about is that we have many new faces. We have great young ideas. I mean, being that I'm kind of up there in seniority, I've been through 14 years of the legislature, and I am just so happy that we have come to this day today as a new way forward for the legislature, because it is definitely going to be a change. And this is a legislature or a house that I feel all of us will be involved in whatever policy we're working on.
What's one thing a lesson that you've learned between your first day as a House member and today as Majority Floor Leader?
When I first came in, I had to learn a lot of things on my own. The new members coming in now have a lot of help. They have advice from all of the members, so they get a feel of what to expect, whereas when I first started, I had to learn it myself and figure it out.
So that's nice. They get it's a bit softer of a landing for them.
Definitely. And they know that they can reach out to us at any time.
We are
That's
at the
fantastic.
end of opening day 2025. It was a whirlwind. Olivia, what was your favorite part?
I loved getting to see even members of the executive branch of our government even still partaking and trying to, message to the public that, we're here, we're working on stuff, we're trying to get things done,
It's nice to be seen. And speaking of being seen, lots of Kauai being represented out here. We got to visit all of the reps and senators from our island, so that was nice. And even stole a minute with the governor, which was the highlight, I think, of our trip. For me, anyway. What about you?
It just was unexpected, I think we had the expectation of just seeing our state senators, but Governor of Hawaii, I guess, throw that in there too. We were right next to KHON2 News and other news stations, so it was pretty nice to have our public access station on the same level as them.
Yep. Right after KHON, we got to talk to the governor. My hair is falling out. So it's that kind of a day. Thanks for sticking with us, though. Max, amazing camera work, as always. Couldn't do it without him. Mahalo to you, sir. And anything to add?
No, the day has wrapped up for us here. We hope you enjoyed hearing from your representatives, whether it was the informative questions or the more fun ones to kind of get a little bit of personality in there, right, Trish? But we hope you will join us again on Hō'ike.
Until then, Kauai, sending love and aloha.
Hō'ike Kauai Community Media's president and CEO is Allegra Gaines. Administrative assistant, Leko Someda. Production and education services by Roger Olson. Production and IT services by Max Richardson. News and events producer, Trisha Allen. County producer and social media manager, Olivia Franco.